The cabin doors swung open in the Montana dawn, casting long shadows across the frost-covered ground. Wyatt Kane edged forward, tasting the crisp air of freedom, but Cyrus Vance loomed in the yard, his Remington revolver catching the first rays of sunlight. "Morning, Wyatt Kane," Cyrus drawled, as two more trackers stepped from the tree-line, rifles at the ready. The ambush had been brewing all night. Wyatt's hand twitched near his holster, the same hand that had caressed Abigail Foster's cheek just hours before, the hand that had finally chosen to stand firm instead of bolt. Through the window, Abigail gripped her late husband's Henry rifle, her fingers steady despite the fear. At 52, with strands of gray weaving through her chestnut hair, she'd convinced herself love was a young woman's folly, a fire long extinguished. But now, 3 lives hung in the balance, tangled in a web of passion and pursuit. The ex-lawman turned bounty hunter, the drifter who betrayed his partner to save his own skin, the widow who'd risked everything for a spark of life. What cost would they pay for one stolen night of reckless abandon? Winter clamped down on Dusty Creek like a vice, the kind of cold that seeped into bones and memories alike. Abigail Foster chopped firewood in the dimming light, her breaths forming clouds in the biting air. 8 years since Elias had been laid to rest, 8 years of rote routines. Feeding the chickens at first light, patching quilts by candle, whispers to a god who seemed distant. She eyed his faded photo on the shelf, then looked away. Some regrets were too raw for twilight. The Henry rifle hung over the fireplace, cobwebs claiming it like forgotten dreams. Elias's gun, Elias's ways, Elias's widow even from the grave, he defined her. The twist of it all didn't escape her. A tool of protection, idle while threats lurked in these rugged hills like silent predators. Fresh boot prints in the snow snagged her attention, leading right to her doorstep. Darkness had fully descended when the stranger showed up. Abigail heard the labored shuffle, first boots scraping, ragged gasps, then the heavy slump against her door. She froze, gripping the fire poker. Proper widows didn't open up after sundown, not to unknowns, not solo. The knock echoed again, fainter. 3 breaths of doubt, then she turned the knob. Wyatt Kane tumbled inward, catching himself on her arm. Late 20s, with a rugged appeal born of rough trails and tougher calls. Blood soaked his shirt sleeve, snowflakes melting in his tousle brown hair. His hazel eyes held quiet thanks, no desperation. "Ma'am," he rasped, voice like gravel and bourbon. "Just need a spot to hole up one night." "No trouble." Abigail's eyes flicked to the peacemaker on his belt, then back up. Outlaw, no doubt, but something in those hazel depths halted her from bolting the door. "One night," she said firmly. "Leave the iron outside, and don't feed me lines. I can spot a lie like bad whiskey." He nodded, unbuckling the holster and placing it on the rail. "Men after me, but I don't draw first, and I spare the innocent." Partial truth, perhaps, but it sufficed. She guided him to the fireside chair, gathered her mending kit and linens. The bullet had torn his shoulder, deep but mendable with care. "This'll sting," she warned, needle ready. "Already does." Her touch was sure, steadier than it had been in ages. When had she last tended anyone? When had she been essential? Wyatt clenched his jaw, silent through the stitches. She admired thatno-dramatics. "You'll bunk on the sofa," she finished. "My room stays shut. We don't breathe a word of this." But as she readied for bed, Abigail left her door ajar just enough to catch his breathing, to glimpse firelight on his sharp features as he slept, to ponder what it meant to matter again. Morning broke still after the blizzard. Abigail stirred to the rhythmic thud of an axe outside. From her window, she saw Wyatt in the yard, wearing Elias's old jacket sleeves riding up his lean arms. His wounded shoulder bore weight decently, each chop scattered with chips, and against her will, her eyes traced the play of muscle in his back, the fluid swing. She stepped out with coffee. He paused, wiping sweat in the chill. Didn't want to freeload, he said, taking the mug. Owe you for the patching. You owe nothing. My folks taught me hospitality. Their fingers grazed, lingering a beat too long. Tell me about them, your family. Wyatt's face eased. Sarah Kane, ranch hand's daughter from a speck of town, could quote Shakespeare while branding cattle, stretch a stew to feed strays at the gate. He sipped. Lost her at 17 to pneumonia. She'd have approved if you said you got steady eyes. Warmth flushed Abigail's cheeks. I should head to town for goods. But at Ida Harper's mercantile, whispers buzzed like flies. The sharp-eyed matron eyed her haul. Extra bandages, more beans, a tin of molasses. Plenty for one, Ida noted slyly. Winter's fierce, Abigail replied evenly. From the shadows, a stranger watched tall, scarred, with a predator's poise. Their eyes locked. He tipped his hat, but it chilled her. She rushed home to find Wyatt fixing the barn latch, sleeves rolled, arms etched with faded scars. Her horses earlier, he said, not glancing up. Keep that Henry handy, could be trappers or nerves. He tested the fix, pleased. Suddenly close, the air thickened. Healing good, thanks to you. But sticking around endangers you, Abigail. Can't have that weighing on me. Her name on his tongue stirred something deep. What if I'm not ready for you to leave? His eyes darkened. My Abigail'm, no prize. Let me decide. Afternoon, unfolded charged. Abigail showed him her poultice brew for wounds. Wyatt taught her to oil the Henry right. Talk flowed. Novels she devoured. Trails he'd wandered skirting secrets. As dusk neared, he pushed for shooting practice at the fence line. Just in case. But it was pretext for proximity, his hands steadying hers on the stock, breath warm on her neck explaining sight lines. The tin can exploded on her fourth shot. Hit it. Abigail laughed, the sound foreign and free. You're quick, Wyatt said, eyes on her glowing face, not the debris. The air crackled. Abigail felt walls crumble like thaw after freeze. His thumb brushed her jaw. Abigail. She leaned in. I should fear you. You ought to. But she didn't. Only fears how you wake me up. Wyatt's restraint shattered. His kiss started soft, turned fervent as she matched him. Arms around his neck, fingers in his hair tasted of dawn and daring. Everything Elias's steady life hadn't been. They parted breathless. The rifle lay in snow. Inside, Wyatt growled. Abigail nodded, slipping Elias's ring into her pocket-cold metal. But her blood ran hot for the first time in forever. But such heat drew shadows, and hunters were already closing in. That evening, the cabin hummed with tension. Abigail cooked with unsteady hands, every brush electric. Post-supper, fireside, flames wove intimacy from isolation. Tell me real, Abigail urged softly. Wyatt stared at embers. Shot a gambler in Billings rigs, fleecing miners blind. He drew first. His fist clenched. Worse, had a trail mate Ben Harlow. Decent soul, dumb risks. Hit a payroll wagon near Bozeman greed, but drought-starved folks, governor hoarding. When posse hit, I cut and ran, left Ben swinging. Abigail waited. Hanged in public like spectacle. Should have stood. He met her eyes. Coward then. Not now, she took his hand. You're here, despite peril. Fire gilded her hair. You're stunning. I'm past my prime. Prime's what you make. His kiss deepened, no holding back. Abigail's hands clutched his shirt as 8 years' ache surged. Wyatt's lips mapped her neck, pulse racing. Sure. Yes. She undid his buttons. Wyatt lifted her, striding to bed, laying her on the patchwork she'd sewn in grief's early days. Moonlight bathed her as he eased her dress free, hands reverent on curves time had softened. Gorgeous, he murmured, mouth trailing heat over her skin. Abigail arched, gasping as he teased her breast, tongue circling until she moaned. His fingers explored lower, igniting forgotten fires. Please, she breathed. Wyatt hovered, eyes locked. Hello. Hoofbeats thundered riders closing fast. Wyatt sprang up, dressing. Window showed 3 horsemen. Leader the store stranger, now badged. Cyrus Vance's gaze raked the cabin like a blade. "Hi!" Abigail shoved him to the storm cellar under floorboards. He dropped in as Cyrus's boots hit the porch. The pounding jolted her. Abigail smoothed her hair, opened up. "Evening, Mrs. Foster." Cyrus pushed in, eyes darting to mugs. Henry now reachable, not dusty. "Cold for visitors." "What brings you?" "Chasing a bad one." He prowled, noting details. Wyatt Kane, 6 foot, brown hair, hazel eyes. "Ring bells?" "No." Cyrus's smile chilled. "Lies stink like rot." Her hand edged to the rifle. "Leave." "Tell where he is." Silence stretched. Below, Wyatt tensed. "I lived solo since Elias." Cyrus eyed her, then slammed his knife into the jam near her head. It quivered. Reminder, justice circles back. He vanished into night. Abigail's knees buckled. She yanked the rug, hauled Wyatt out. They collided, wordless, her lips fierce on his, 8 years void crumbling. Wyatt's hands knotted her hair, pulling close till heart sinked. No interruptions now. Wyatt unlaced her gently, fire painting her golden the slope of her back. Throats dip, breasts rise. As clothes fell, shaking. Long time. His mouth tender on her neck, fingers charting desires. They tumbled to the rug, urgent yet soft rough edges smoothed by wonder. Abigail cried out as he entered, isolation shattering. After, she pillowed on his chest, his touch lazy on her skin. They slept entwined till dawn. But light brought truth. Wyatt dressed as she brewed coffee, air heavy with unsaid. "Got a ride," he murmured. "Staying risks you." Abigail packed jerky, hands firm despite heartbreak. Elias's jacket fit snug. "Come with." Word suspended. "Wyatt, we could head west, Oregon fresh start." Abigail glimpsed her reflection. Gray streaks, laugh lines, life's weight. Too old for trails. Not for life. He kissed her farewell tinged. "If I could." "I know." Door opened. Cyrus in yard, Remington aimed. 2 trackers flanked, guns up. Trap set while they loved. "Let him walk." Abigail emerged, Henry ready. Cyrus barked laughter, wind whipped. "Harboring's crime, I could haul you both." "Wyatt, she's clean." "Let her be." "Oh, she's neck deep." Cyrus noted jacket, her disheveled look. "What's she worth?" "All." Cyrus. "Then justice. Come quiet, trial noose." Abigail's grip tightened. They knew justice meant rope. Wyatt locked eyes with her love, sorrow. Once coward, now he'd stand. "Rope's no end for me." Cyrus. "Only end, Kane." Wyatt. "Maybe." Hand dropped. Fight chosen. Air froze. Abigail clutched Henry. 3 guns on her love. 1 widow with 8 years' sorrow, 1 night's bliss. Math of mayhem cruel. Wyatt drew swift, peacemaker whipping up. In fair fights, he'd win. But Cyrus, 20 years badged, fired mid-draw. Bullets slammed Wyatt's chest, twisting him down. Gun skidded, snow staining crimson. "No!" Abigail's wail pierced. She dashed, dropping rifle, kneeling in dirt. Abigail. Hazel eyes found hers, bloodied hand clasping. "Didn't run." "I know, darling." Tears streamed, first in years. "Stayed." I shut, grip slack. Abigail held him, avalanche of loss crashing. But under grief, spark pride. Wyatt Kane died as he lived, last unyielding. Boots neared. Cyrus holstered smoking gun. "Law says arrest you." "Then do." Defiance through tears. Cyrus paused, something softening. "Funny, laws bend for right." He closed Wyatt's eyes gently. "See only a widow here." He knelt. Buried deep coyotes prowl. Trackers mounted, fading into pines. Yard hushed, but for wind and distant eagle cry. Abigail buried Wyatt at the shooting spot, Ken's glinting like stars. No stone, just blue kerchief on aspen. In Dusty Creek, questions buzzed Mabel probed with pies, sympathy for unshared woes. Abigail mastered quiet. Changes subtle, profound. Henry cleaned, loaded near. Planted blue wildflowers at first since Elias. Rode to Missoula monthly for books, silks, treats denied. She never wore the ring again. Spring thawed late, but thawed. Abigail porch sat, watching streams rush, larks sing. Kerchief faded, waved. Wyatt haunted thoughts. Firelit touch, names lilt, choices heft. Some loves spanned decades, others pulses, both shaped. Abigail Foster lived 25 more years there. Never wed, but never empty. Love's flame endured, even with its kindler under Montana earth. What do you think did Abigail make the right call opening her door that night? Or should she have played it safe? Share your take in the comments below. I'd love to hear your stance on love, risk, and second shots. Let's debate.